Bomer is a mixus yanta because Rabbi Akiva's students stopped dying. And where do we get a precedent? The Meisei Midbar stopped dying. But we need more than that. So that's the source, so it has to be, that doesn't really make sense to us, at least to me. So the Pri Chadash already throws out an interesting svara, and we'll tie it into here as well. The Efshar, he says, what kind of thing is you make a party after people stop dying? The Efshar, no, the Simcha isn't on Rabbi Akiva's students who died. Al Osam Talmidim Shahosif Achakach Rabbi Akiva Shuomesu. In other words, the Gemara goes on and says, I think he had about 5 Talmidim left over. And one we'll see was Rosh Shimon Bar Yochai. And he went ahead and he taught them. And that's what we're celebrating. The mix that, imagine you have 24,000 students at MAC. Over a short period of time, all the students disappear. Imagine how hard the professors were working, teaching all this stuff, and all the work is nothing. So what's the normal response? Give up. That's it. I had enough. I'll do something else. I go, Rabbi Akiva, after losing 24,000 students, he went, okay, let's get these 5. And because he taught these 5, the whole Torah, Judaism exists today because of these 5 students that Rabbi Akiva went ahead and didn't give up, and he taught. So that's the celebration. So not celebrating the death, that the death stopped, which we're happy the death stopped, but that's not a reason to celebrate. It's he went ahead and continued teaching these 5 students who ultimately kept Judaism going, and that's why we have Torah today. So similarly, you could say the same thing here. It's not that Gemara is not saying we're celebrating the death that the people in the Midbar stopped dying, but we're celebrating the consequence, the result. What does that mean? That means it's time to go into Eretz Yisrael now. The whole point was traveling in the Midbar to get to the land of Israel. So that's what we're celebrating. We're happy. It's a mixus yontif now. Everyone finished dying. That was an impediment for us to go to Eretz Yisrael, and now we're going in. So it's not a mixus yontif because they stopped dying, which is true. We're happy they stopped dying, but it's more than it's that we know that we can enter the land of Eretz Yisrael. So similarly here, it's not a mixus yontif because they stopped dying. Now that would be a little weird. It's more than that. It's because the students, Rabbi Akiva started teaching the new students, etc. That's one school of thought. It has to do with
But the people had to stop dying in order for them to enter Eretz Yisrael. The 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva didn't have to die in order for him to do this mitzvah.
Correct, right. That's why I'm saying it's similar, not identical. In other words, what we're celebrating here is we're not, whatever we don't know. It says Shalom Nagu Kavod Zelazeh. It's very mysterious why. We have no real source in Jewish source, even secular. Like, did some plague break out and 24,000? Like, how can you have so many people? So it's not clear. The best answer I heard was it was Rabbi Akiva's time. It was during the Bar Kokhba revolt, and they were Talmidim. They were the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva were the soldiers. They were fighting in the war. So at least in the war, they got killed fighting in the war. All right, we're not saying it's because we're not in the Lag BaOmer case. We're not. What the Pri Chadash is saying is not because of that, but the result is I don't know why they're dead. Now what I'm doing, but in this case it happens to be that we're celebrating the fact that now we can go into Eretz, or you can just assume this is one of 5 reasons in the combination, right? So that's what we're assuming. However, there's another thing brought down in fact, the Chassan Sofer writes, we don't really know. He says, "V'taima gufa lo yadinan." He alludes that something did happen. We're not actually sure what happened, but we'll get to shortly. So what do people in the Hasidic Svarim and people bring down? So, and that's why do they go to the grave, the kever of Shimon Bar Yochai? Why is Meiron so popular this weekend? It's because, again, there's no source in the Gemaras and that, but the Chida and others bring down what happened. So some bring down it was the death of, it's a mixus yantif today, Lag BaOmer, because Hilula de Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It's the death, it's the yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And therefore, it's the yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that's why we're celebrating. So the problem with that is, well, that's a general question. Yortzeit. What do you do on a yortzeit? Fast or feast? That's a machlokas chasidim and misnagdim. In Shulchan Aruch it says you fast on a yortzeit. So it wouldn't make any sense that when we talk about yortzeit we say fast, and now you're talking about the yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and now you say feast. So, but this in general. Because the issue is, it's a mixed bag. Because on one hand, it's Mazel Ra, it's not a good day. Your parent died. On the other hand, it's a day where you learn, you think about your parents, you learn how good they were to you in general, and you learn so much and become a better person. So that's the mixed emotions you have on a yortzeit. In fact, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, I'm not saying Hasidim would agree with this, but he wasn't a Chassid. He said, you know what a minute. People like many today have a minute, they have tikkun on a yortzeit. Tikkun, like have honey cake and schnapps. He said, where did that come from? Since on yortzeit you really have to fast, so just like an Erev Pesach, what do? We make a siyum. So the original minute was, so what you did on yortzeit, you made a siyum. If you made a siyum, then you could eat. So the Hasidim dropped the siyum and kept the tikkun. So that's where eating on a yortzeit comes about, but you got to make a siyum first. But either way, so the Shulchan Aruch says you have to fast on a yortzeit. So it's difficult to say it's the yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We don't make a party on the yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. So why are we so happy on the death of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, not Rav Moshe? So some want to answer Derek Drush is because homiletically because they both died. Everyone's going to die, but it's how you die, or what haven't you done? Have you accomplished what you wanted in life? So by Moshe Rabbeinu, it was a very sad death in the sense because he wanted to enter Eretz Yisrael, and he was denied that for any of many potential sins they attribute to him. But he wasn't able to go to Eretz Yisrael, so it's sad. So we're not happy on the yortzeit of Moshe. But you say Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. What did he do on the day of his death? They say he revealed the Zohar, the shining light. That's the book of Kabbalah. I wonder if anyone told Madonna about what's going on in Israel Saturday night. But he revealed the real Kabbalah, not the Kabbalah they teach out in the Hollywood stars in California, but the real stuff. And therefore, that's why on the day of his death, he revealed the hidden Torah. And therefore, that's why it's a happy day. Because that was his life's accomplishment, and he was able to get it out. So some want to say, but in general, but al pi halach, it's still difficult. We usually don't celebrate a yortzeit, but they want to explain why this yortzeit is different. I saw another interesting pshat. The Moadim Bahalacha brings down something, even he says it's a little far-fetched, but I liked it. It was interesting. It was novel. He writes, why we celebrate, he says, he wants to bring a tam chadash l'minig hasimcha al kever Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai b'Lag Bomer. What is this? People celebrating a yortzeit? It's not the way you usually celebrate a yortzeit. He says, al pi hamavur b'Gemara. The Gemara talks about the Gemara in Shabbos, and they like pointing out Lamed Gimel, Daf Lamed Gimel in Shabbos, Lag Bomer. They point out, he talks about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But either way, it says Shamalchus, that the Romans they put out a decree to kill. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was teaching Torah in public, and they put out a public decree, you can't teach Torah. And they were looking to kill him. That's when he went with his son, and he hid in the cave, and a carob tree grew in order to nourish. He was 12 years, he didn't leave the cave, and they say he didn't want his clothes to wear out, so they took their clothes off. They buried themselves and they covered themselves up, and they would go back to wear out their clothes for 12 years, and they used to eat from the carob tree, whatever. And then after 12 years, is it the Medrash or the Gemara tells us that Eliyahu Hanavi came down to them and said, don't worry, the Caesar died, you could come out. He went out, he saw people working, he went crazy, and he looked at them, he burned them up. A Basco came out and said, get back in the cave, you're not ready for this world, you're too holy. I think he went back for a couple of years, and then he came back and he saw someone bringing flowers for Shabbos and said, "Wow, in this world, even the physical could be spiritual," and etc. So what happened was, so that's the history, that's the story. So you got to know that. So he says, so what happened was the Romans tried to kill him, but they couldn't find him. In other words, they say like this: the reason why we're celebrating the day of his death was he died. His death was ended up being a natural death. He wasn't killed by the Roman government. And the halacha is harugi malchus. And if you were killed by the government, there wouldn't have been a burial. They would have taken your body. Who knows what they would have done with it? So that's the simcha. The nace was he wasn't caught by the Romans. And he actually, fitting in, he died naturally, and he was able to teach, he was able to reveal the Zohar, and that's why he says, that's why people, they go to his kever to show, look, point out, look, he died naturally, and he wasn't killed earlier. However, he writes, it's a very sharp answer about Rechok Ksas. He says it's a little far-fetched, but interesting nevertheless. So that's how some suggest. So we have the students of Rabbi Akiva. We have Rav Shimon bar Yochai, either his yortzeit, so we have the students of Rabbi Akiva, but as the Pri Chadashah says, not the death, but the fact that they went ahead and rebuilt. And you have Rav Shimon bar Yochai. And all this, like the Svarim HaKadosh, and that they focus on Rav Shimon bar Yochai. In fact, interesting, they say Lag Bomer. So we know there's a word plag, Pei Lamed Gimel. So they say plag, Pei stands for Purim, and Lamed Gimel. And there's a connection between Purim and Lag BaOmer. What's the connection between Purim and Lag BaOmer? So number one, a simple connection is they always fall out on the same day. Purim was what day this year? Sunday. Lag BaOmer is Sunday. It falls out to this, and just like you have a connection with Tisha B'Av and Pesach, there's a connection with. So obviously there's some connection. What is the connection? So some point out that Purim. What is Purim? We all know Purim is the only book in Tanakh that doesn't have God's name in. God was hidden, so to speak. Esther, Hastir, Panim. And that's what Lag BaOmer is all about. That Rabbi Shimon Yochai was revealed the hidden secrets of the Torah. So that's the kesher between Purim and Lag BaOmer. Interesting. Also, some point out that we know there are 4 New Years. That's the first mission, Rosh Hashanah. It's not this Judgment Day on Rosh Hashanah, but we have the New Year for trees, Tu B'Shvat. So someone point out we have 4 days of Kabbalas HaTorah. 4 days that are meaningful in Torah. So we all know there's Shavuos coming up. That's the Luchos Rishonos that was given our Sinai. Yom Kippur is the Luchos Shniyos. That Yom Kippur is God came down and they gave down the second Luchos and He forgave us for the sin of the Cheder Ego. The third one is Purim. The Gemara tells us in Shabbos that originally, when God gave them the Torah, He tilted the mountain over their head and said, "Accept the Torah now will be a burial." And the Gemara said, "Yeah, but it's meaningless. They accepted the Torah under duress. They didn't. So it's not." They said, "You're right. Kimo v'kibbul," but on Purim they re-accepted the Torah. So the Kedushas Halevi writes that Purim's the Torah. They makabel the Torah Shabbat Peh. So that's the Torah. So you have the Luchos Rishonos is Yom Kippur. It's Shavuos. The Luchos Shniyos is Yom Kippur. Purim is the Torah Shabbat Peh, and Lag BaOmer is the Torah, the Nister. It's the day that Kabbalah. So the 4, another link between Lag BaOmer and Purim, and therefore, if that's the case, one should have a festive meal, because we always make a festive meal when it comes to Torah. So that's another reason to have a meal on Lag BaOmer. And they point out, interesting as well, that if you count in the Baalei Kabbalah and the Chassidish on the right, we know there are 49 days between Pesach and Shavuos. there are 64 days between Purim and Lag BaOmer. So we know 7 times 7 is 49, 8 times 8 is 64. So the number 7 is always Derech HaTeva, the norm. 7 days of the week, the Shemitah cycle, that's a normal way of life. 8 is always L'mala min Derech HaTeva, not within the norm. So they point out that the 7 cycles of 7, because on Shavuos we got the regular Torah, the Torah Shebeksav, the Torah for us. 8 is the number of Mimala Miderech HaTeva, Kabbalah. So 8 times 8, that's what Purim was hidden, that was the Torah Shabbat Peh, but on Lag BaOmer, the hidden secrets of Rosh Hashanah Yochai were given away. So interesting, the Chasam Sofer writes that you know what else happened? Well before these things. So because we have, we talk about maybe it's the Yortzeit of Rosh Hashanah Yochai, the death of the Rabbi Kiva's students, but the Chasam Sofer brings down, you know what happened much earlier in life? Again, based on a complicated working out of the dates, he comes out with these two things. The some point out that, Yud Ches Iyar is the day that the Mabul started. Noah's Ark, the flood. Some say it was the day the flood started. So that was 40. That's a long 40 days of destruction. But what else happened later on in Jewish history? That is, the Chasam Sofer says the man began falling on Yud Ches Iyar, which is Lag BaOmer. So we see originally it started off as a day of destruction, but however it turned into a day of blessing, and that's how also they explain the connection with Purim and Lag BaOmer. Originally, Hama made a decree, Lahashvin Gahalor was called Yehudim. It started off as a terrible day, but the end result was it was Simcha. So that's another connection with Purim and Lag BaOmer. And we know that some have a custom of, we know bonfires are very popular. That's because fire represents Torah, the Eish Torah, Eish of Torah. And they point out as well, there's an old custom of bow and arrows. What is that all about? Playing bow and arrows. So they point out, interesting, that the word in Hebrew is keshet. So keshet means also rainbow. Rainbow, after God destroyed the world with the flood, He put the rainbow to say He's never going to destroy the world again with the flood. And keshet also means bow and arrow. So to speak, they played bow and arrow to an illusion that the flood began on Lag BaOmer. And it's only because we changed our ways that we always have to be careful. We always have to think you're becoming better, because like Purim and all those days, it started off as days of potential. Well, the Mabul was destruction, but Purim was potential, and then we switched it around. So those are some of the things also they say happened on Lag BaOmer. And it's interesting, I heard from one of the historians, or Shneur Lehman, he's one Jewish historian, one of the top ones around, he said they found this recently, I think they called it the Cairo Geniza, and they found some manuscripts going well back, when the Jews were living in Eretz Yisrael in the beginning, and they found, what happened? What the Jews used to do on Lag BaOmer? It wasn't Lag BaOmer, maybe it was if they were counting then, but it wasn't. It was the 18th day of Iyar. You know what the Jews did in Eretz Yisrael? It was the death of Yoshua ben Nun, and the Jews used to fast on that day. In the Cairo Geniza it says it was a Yom Tainus. So originally the Jews were fasting. Today now it's a Miksa Simcha, but as the Chasam Sofer writes, and we'll conclude on that, he says, Gvoa Moed, he's concerned that in Eretz Yisrael they're making too much of a yantiv out of it, and Gvoa Moed Shelo Nasa Bones, to make a holiday, a full-fledged holiday, on a day that no clear miracle happened. We are nowhere in Shas supposed to say anything happened on that day. And all the Remez, Remiza, we have a different hint. So that Rak Minias Hespivitayas. So that's a day where you have Miksa Simcha. You shouldn't fast on that day. You don't have eulogies. Minhagahu, that's our minhag. Don't turn it into a full-fledged yontif, that's Baal Tosef. And he writes, "V'taima gufa lo yadinin," but we don't know exactly why. But today he throws out that says, the mun and that. So those are, that's why especially today it's a day much more among like the Bali Kabbalah, and that's why it's a day where in North America it's not much going on, but in Eretz Yisrael, people, in all periods, it's a cultural thing as well. It's not just yeshivish people, right wing. You have all people going up the kever of Shimon. You don't usually have people having songs about. They sing, special songs about Rav Shimon. Going to, Moshe Rabbeinu's had people go to his kever, or they don't go to his kever. They don't know where it is. But let's say people go to Shlomo Zalman. You don't have this type of thing. And there's something special with Taima Gufa Loya. We don't know exactly all the details of Lag BaOmer, but we've named a couple. Some good, some not so good. The death of Yeshua ben Nun. We had the beginning of the flood. Not so good. The man falling, a blessing, and that's the whole nature of the day. And then whether we have the Meir already bringing down perhaps the death. Rabbi Akiva's students stopped dying on that day, which would be a mix of simcha because he went ahead and retaught them, or perhaps, like many the Chida points out, that some say Rav Shimon Bar Yochai died on that day. It was his yortzeit. It's also because he went ahead and fulfilled his life mission. He went ahead and he revealed the Zohar, the hidden secrets throughout. So that's some of the issues. That's why the Lag BaOmer, the fires, some of the potential things that happen, and that's why we celebrate Lag BaOmer. Any questions, comments, alternative speeches? I heard one Rav always used to say, he says, I get my, because everyone talks in Shul, he says, I get my Baal Batan to be quiet. I ask a question. And he's giving shit, you ask a question, and that's when you get silence. But either way, so that's some of the reasons why we celebrate Lag BaOmer. A lot of it, it's not too many things, in terms of the Gemara and that, but it's the later poskim, and it's a deal, a lot of stuff in the Sifrei Kabbalah and that, and it's a day where, some are against the whole thing. They think it's too much of a commercial thing. Don't go to Meiron. Go into the Beis HaMedrash and go study Rav Shimon Bar Yochai's teaching. That's the way you should celebrate the day. But however you're going to do it, you recognize, there's something special about Lag BaOmer, whether we're celebrating the fact that Rabbi Akiva was able to go ahead and rebuild Klal Yisrael to his new Talmidim, or that the fact he revealed the Zohar, or perhaps some other reason, the man beginning. Doesn't make a difference. It's a mixus yantav, and we should be happy and enjoy the day.
It seems like a bit of a stretch that, for the sake of Shabbat, that you should cut your hair during Tefillah before Lag BaOmer. So how can we make that stretch?
Well, why is it? It's not. No. Why is it so much of a stretch? Meaning, because what's going to happen is that. So what's going to happen? Everyone's going to go take a haircut either Saturday night or Sunday. So they're saying it's going to be a zilzal to Shabbos.
Right.
Right. I'm saying that's why I pointed out. So maybe.
Why don't they just say so? Then don't do it at all.
Right. Or right.
On Tuesday.
Right. Or right. But the luck is you're allowed to. So that's why. That's why some say. That's why I pointed out. If you want to argue that to the logical extreme, then. Maybe you should say you could do that every Friday. I'm saying with some shave. I'm saying is the reason why we're doing it because really there isn't a fundamental difference between haircut and shaving. The difference is only pragmatic. Haircuts you only have to take once a month. So therefore we don't say so you just take a haircut before so you can wait till Lag BaOmer. But shaving something you have to do all the time. So therefore some feel strongly about covered Shabbos in general, not that the others don't, but they say, you're right, you should be shaving every Friday. But that's, but clearly the Shulchan Aruch brought down the minhag of not shaving, and they knew within 33 days you're going to have a Shabbos, and they didn't say, and by the way, if you want within the, so you could, but here, I don't see it such a big stretch here, is what's going to happen, what they're saying is, everyone's going to get a haircut on Sundays, so Lag BaOmer becomes more chashuv than Shabbos. It's not true the other weeks because you're not taking a haircut anyway. So you're doing all these things, so that's why, the minhag is people take haircuts and shave them. But it's a double, you're really doing it, it's covered for Lag BaOmer and Shabbos at the same time.